The trillion-dollar machine. Where does all the military money actually go? What if the world's most powerful army isn't really about defending a border at all? What happens when you follow every single dollar the Pentagon spends, from a soldier's paycheck to a $2 trillion fighter jet? And why, after 6 years of trying, can the United States government still not tell you where 61% of its own military equipment actually is? These aren't rhetorical questions. They have real, traceable answers. And they reveal something stranger than most people realize about how the most expensive military on Earth actually works. A budget bigger than most countries. The United States spends more on its military than the next 10 countries combined. In 2023, the total came to $853 billion, a sum larger than the entire economy of Switzerland. To understand why, you have to go inside the number and see what it's actually made of. Nearly half of that budget, $352 billion, disappears into a vague category called operations and maintenance. It sounds boring, and mostly it is. Fuel, equipment repairs, administrative costs, training. But it also quietly funds things people rarely associate with the military. $39 billion for healthcare for active duty personnel, environmental cleanup of unexploded ordnance and chemical spills, disaster relief, even $10 million for security at international sporting events. This same category pays to run roughly 1,250 military bases, including about 800 stationed in other countries, complete with their own Pizza Huts, McDonald's, and grocery stores stocked with American products, so personnel abroad can feel like they never left home. That detail matters because it points to something bigger. The U.S. military isn't built like a normal country's army. Most nations use their militaries to guard their own borders. The U.S. military spans the entire globe, effectively giving Washington a hand in every region on Earth. One simple answer to why does America spend so much is this: it's the price of acting as the world's enforcer of order. People, research, and weapons. Next comes $172 billion for military personnel, pay, benefits, retirement, and healthcare for over 3.4 million service members and civilian employees, making the Department of Defense arguably the largest employer on the planet. Then, $140 billion goes to research and development, more than Morocco's entire economy, funding technology like AI-assisted drone analysis, autonomous submarines, ship-mounted laser weapons, and exoskeletons designed to let soldiers carry heavier loads. Some of this military research has spilled into everyday life. GPS, drones, voice recognition, the computer mouse, and even the internet all trace their origins back to Pentagon-funded projects. Construction is the smallest slice, just $19 billion, covering new facilities at home and abroad. And then there's procurement. $167 billion spent buying hardware, roughly the size of Ethiopia's economy. A single F-35 fighter jet costs $142 million. Cruise missiles run $1.6 million apiece, and the U.S. bought 600 of them last year alone. Troop transport vehicles cost $372,000 each, with thousands purchased annually. Yet even this detailed breakdown is a simplification. Each category hides thousands of smaller expenses inside it, an organization so large that even the Pentagon itself struggles to fully account for it. In 2024, the Department of Defense failed its audit for the 6th year in a row, unable to locate 61% of its physical assets. Where the money really goes. Here's the part that's harder to stomach. 54% of the entire budget, about $466 billion, goes directly to private companies. Pull up the list of top defense contractors over the last 2 decades,
And the same 5 names appear again and again. Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Raytheon, General Dynamics, Northrop Grumman. That's not an accident. The industry has consolidated from 51 major contractors decades ago down to just 5 today. A concentration the Pentagon itself has acknowledged creates a monopoly problem. When there's only one company that makes the part you need, prices climb. A Stinger missile that once cost the Pentagon $25,000 now costs nearly $500,000. More than 16 times the original price, far beyond inflation. Auditors have found similar patterns elsewhere. One contractor overcharged dining hall services by 30 to 40%. In another case, the Pentagon was billed $3,357 for a ball bearing it could have bought from its own warehouse for $15.42. Investigations have also uncovered profit margins as high as 40 to 50% on some contracts, far above what's typical in most industries.
The money behind the money. Those profits fund something else: influence. Defense contractors spend heavily on lobbying and campaign contributions, split fairly evenly across party lines, to keep military budgets climbing. On top of that sits the so-called revolving door. Retired generals joining defense company boards, then cycling back into government roles like Secretary of Defense before returning to the private sector again. One analysis found that in a single year, top defense firms hired 672 people straight out of the Pentagon as lobbyists, board members, and executives. There's a subtler mechanism too. Contractors deliberately spread manufacturing and jobs across dozens of states and congressional districts. That gives lawmakers a direct incentive to keep military spending flowing. No politician wants to be blamed for plant closures and layoffs in their district. It's a self-reinforcing cycle. Contractors fund campaigns, lawmakers protect contracts, jobs stay local, and the budget keeps growing. Is any of this actually making us safer? To be fair, the picture isn't just corporate lobbying. There's a real strategic logic here too. A strong military can deter conflict, and a rough balance of power between major nations has, historically, helped prevent war. But that same logic has a dark side. It pushes rivals into arms races. The US and the Soviet Union spent decades doing exactly that, until both sides had stockpiled more than 10,000 nuclear warheads each. And every dollar spent on defense is a dollar not spent somewhere else. Nearly half of the US discretionary budget goes to the Department of Defense, while diplomacy, the State Department, gets only 1 or 2%. Yet lasting peace has rarely, if ever, come from military spending alone. It comes from diplomacy, international law, and cooperation. Security itself is broader than tanks and missiles. Safe drinking water, functioning roads and bridges, affordable health care, and access to education all contribute to a country's real security, and all compete with the military for the same limited federal dollars. The people who serve deserve genuine respect, but the system that decides how much money flows to the military each year has priorities shaped less by strategy than by corporate profit margins and political survival. A feedback loop that keeps pushing spending upward, with no clear ceiling in sight.